to the computer. All right. So, welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love, where we begin learning that love begins on the inside and not from without. So, what I want to talk about today is blessings and curses, and are we living the blessing or are we living the curse? So, I want to start today with a scripture, and that is in Genesis 12:2. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse you, and all people on earth will be blessed through you. So, what I want to really say right there is God, universe, source, the great I am, when it all began in the beginning, before when the foundations were being built, and in the first parts of life as people were moving around this earth, this great earth, what was happening at that point? There were so many different interactions between source and them that there was blessings being deposited so that the generations could receive it. So as we were going through, we had the opportunity to realize that we are a blessing and that we are a nation within ourselves. That there is so much that we have the power to actually influence all the way around us. And it's whether or not we're standing in our wholeness and our completion. So my affirmation of the day is I am whole and complete within myself. We don't need anything exterior to be whole and complete, but we have been trained our whole life to look outside of us. While we were growing up, we looked for mom and dad to give us praise and affirmations and approval and, oh, I'm so proud of you. And 99.9% of us never received what we actually needed. So we spent a lot of times hearing the things that we didn't, which fractured our very soul of who we are and made us actually feel less than who we really are. So we have the opportunity to actually change that by taking the steps to refill what was rightfully meant to be within us. So does anybody have any questions yet? Give it a moment. Nope. Okay. Elizabeth turned on her screen. I thought she was going to speak up. She says no. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is what we surround ourselves in each and every day. What are the things that we're listening to? How are we filling ourselves? So say you're listening to that podcast. Is it the podcast that you need to be listening to that's going to actually fuel you, to give you the strength to keep going? Or is it the words that's tearing you down because it's feeding the negativity within because of the lessons and the things that we've gone through? So that's the part there. That's where we're looking at the blessing or the curse as well, even into the things that we're hearing. What are we speaking into the world? Are we speaking the blessing that we are, or are we speaking the curses that have been laid down from the generations on us because of our subconscious? So we've got to really look at what is happening around us. And how many times do we get stuck in a story because we don't realize our own sense of value and self-worth? And that is just what, when you really come down to the blessing and the curse, that's where all of this stuff stems back to. I have a question. If what is your favorite quote, scripture, poem, or story? So I want to go around the table and ask everybody. So I'm going to start with Yanni. What is your favorite quote, scripture, poem, or story?
Uh, um, The one I could think of right now at the moment is uh Edison's, that he did not fail 10,000 times or 1,000 times, but he learned. It was a way that showed him what not to do. Because the main reason I feel I like persistence, because I'm afraid of failing, so understanding that it's not a fail but a lesson, it's, I think, where I seem to grow. And I just wanted to comment on the listening part, because I used to listen to so many, you know, day to day, the new type of music, but I feel because of the word, it's a good beat, but with subconsciously, the words does affect the mood you are in. Like, I used to hate, I'm not gonna say hate, but dislike when my mom used to put all Christian music, and I was like, Mom, change it, it's so boring, so boring, so boring. But now it's fitting. It's a fitting. I feel it's like my soul needs it now that I'm in the personal growth,
Mhm.
a journey. Like, I feel the change on, even on the music itself. I listen to books and stuff, but just the music itself changes my mood depending on what I listen to. So I love that I became aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great and very insightful. I love the one that you with Thomas Edison and his, yes, persistence is key. No matter what we're facing in life, if we just keep going, instead of allowing ourselves to feel defeated, that is one of the best processes we can use to get to the steps that we're on. I would say everybody probably in this room right now has all literally pressed in and pushed through those places in life and went, nope, I'm going to keep going. I believe that I am able and capable, or you wouldn't be right here today. What about you, Yaz? What is yours? Your favorite?
My favorite quote, I guess, is Abraham Hicks. Like, everything's working out for me, because no matter what happens, I just take a minute to find out like what is teaching me, or what I can learn from it, or perspective that makes me thrive rather than the opposite. I
Awesome.
don't I don't have a favorite scripture because I don't really read the Bible. I used to, like, a long time ago, and I love Neville Goddard's take on it. But like, Neville Goddard kind of takes it inside out and upside down, so it kind of takes the scriptures out of contents, the norm, well, the masses see it. So I guess that I don't really have a favorite scripture.
That's okay. That is perfectly fine. I'm glad that you were able to open up and say that too, because I want everybody to know that this is an open floor. It doesn't matter what religious background you go to or come from. I want everybody to
Mhm.
know this is an equal opportunity to speak up and be who you are in your authentic self. And I am grateful that you
Uh-huh.
said something about that.
I would have found one if I would.
Well, this is basically.
Sorry, I had a phone coming in. I would have found one if you would have given me more time, but I would have found the Neville Goddard version.
Well, for myself personally, how I got really where I am today, I would say that my favorite scripture is Mark 10:27, and that is with man, it's impossible, but with God, all things are possible. So that was my favorite, and it has been for many, many years. I've had charms and trinkets that have been given to me because I say that so often, and because that was how I got to this space in my life. And it was reading the scripture, it was finding everything. And it's funny because no matter what religion background, because I went to school for theology and I've got like 36 credits towards my ministerial license, but I moved away from that. I didn't go into that route. I didn't go and become a pastor. Instead, I chose that my job was to go out and help people. And that was what my passion was for. It wasn't really about the fact that I needed to go in and become a pastor and stand behind a pulpit. It's the fact that I needed to share the love with the world around me. And that was what it was about. And that's why I had begun going down that road. So, but going through all of the scripture, it doesn't matter which avenue you go through, it all comes down to the same general space. There is one higher power, one, not at many. There's one.
But we have to still respect the scriptures and religions and all that, because if we don't, then that's not a good way either. Respect the people in them and why they do that, because it's their alignment. Just because ours is a little different doesn't mean that theirs isn't just as valuable. So I love the Bible, and I didn't mean to be disrespectful. You know, I wasn't being
None taken, none taken. That's why I wanted to go over that so that people understood that that was not where you were going. You were just being
No.
very authentic. And
honest. Yeah.
authentic. And I love that about you. I love
Yeah,
that.
like I said, if you would have given me like a few minutes, I would have did a bit of research and found one in the Neville. Are you familiar with Neville Goddard
Yes.
and what he did?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love his work.
Yeah, so I would have found one for you. You know, I would have done some homework. You know,
Fine. You didn't know what to expect when you came to class today. It's okay. So in regards to the fact that everything is working out for me, Abraham Hicks, that was what yours is. Why is that? Why do you relate to that?
because my life didn't really make sense. You know, I felt like a long time ago, I felt really sorry for myself. I didn't like that space. You know, like to tell you why I felt sorry for myself, because I had heart disease and 6 kids, and it doesn't work, because you need to be able to breathe to look after 6 kids, and you need to be able to move, and I couldn't. So it was really hard. So when I met my art teacher, she put me into and my art teacher kept on saying that I was the light as well, which made me feel different, like, you know, because like through my life I wasn't heard. So like everything works out for me, whether you feel heard or unheard, it doesn't matter, because you can still learn from it. Like if you whatever, you'll find a strand, a something of love in there, and you pull it out. I just think, you know, I've got a perspective that works for me, and I went through that because I wouldn't be this Yaz if I never went through that, you know. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Yaz, for sharing. I want to go ahead and go with Joe next. What is your favorite quote, scripture, poem, or story, and why?
So I used to have one in the Bible, somewhere in the book of Mark, and I was actually just trying to skim through to see if I could find it, because over the years I had forgotten it. And I'll have to come back at that later, and I'll give you the one that we're doing in our class together, our personal meetings. And for that homework I did, I put in, live the life you love the life you live. And I know we've spoken about that before, and how it hangs on my refrigerator, and I see it every day. And that's important to me, because that's literally one of the first affirmations, one of the first things that I have written down to start retraining my brain to live a better life, to get out of those negative thoughts, those negative mindsets, and start, you know, projecting myself into the life that I want to live, that life that I would love to live. And it still hangs on my fridge, because it's still something that I see every day. I've even thought about making a tattoo out of it, because it's that powerful to me. I've looked at making those little rubber bands, silicone bands, but they don't allow me that many letters. So that was a no-go for that, because I would have loved to buy 100 of them and just hand them out to random people. That would have been sweet. Which I may find someone I can do that yet too, but when the time comes.
Thank you. That one's really great. I think that anybody could take that one and use that to really begin feeding themselves some encouragement to keep going and finding a way to love their life. That is really important. So thank you, Joe, for sharing. And Miss Elizabeth, the question is, what is your favorite quote, scripture, poem, or story, and why?
Well, I'm going to go with "To thine own self be true." And, that is, I mean, I think it kind of says it all for what it is. I grew up Catholic, and we had catechism. We didn't have the Bible. And so I never really, immersed myself in the Bible, even though, once again, as Yazzie said earlier, I respect it. I have more respect for it than I did when I was growing up. I can tell you that. But that would deviate into a whole different path, and I'm not going to go there. But I think what that means to me is that so in the times in my life where I've tried to waver from that, or I've been pulled into somebody else's story, or I've allowed myself to, as an empath, just kind of try and be something that I'm not, or, just fit into some kind of mold or some other predetermined lifestyle path or any other thing, I always lose my balance. I always lose my center of gravity. And then it makes it that much harder for me to come back, because then I start questioning myself. Where did I go wrong? What did I do? Why did I follow that? Why didn't I listen to my own blah, 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 blah? That is a big mantra for me. It's like, why didn't I listen to myself when I knew? When those times in your life when you just absolutely, you hear it, or you feel it, or you sense it, and you go in a different direction, screws me up every time. It just does. So, I think that's kind of, and I'm a character, I know I am. I know I'm just like an individual, and I come from a family of 10 kids, and trying to just kind of be your own separate entity in and of that whole paradigm for me was just like really important to me. It was just a huge deal. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. That is deep, Elizabeth. I appreciate that, because that is truth. We do find ourselves getting caught up in the stories, where we're going, and how many influences are around us everywhere, and how many times do we stagger our own step and do something different, when in all actuality we're whole and complete within ourselves, whole and complete within us. We don't have to look outside. But as I was saying in the beginning of class, that is the one thing we've all been trained to do so many times, and learning how to practice daily, leaning upon the self and being able to go within is so vital, because that is where all of our truth is. That's where all of our knowledge comes from. It doesn't actually come from everywhere else around us. It's finding that small, still space within, and being able to get confident and comfortable, finding that perfect alignment, and knowing that all information is going to come to us. We don't have to go seeking and down the rabbit hole. I've been the Alice too many times. Where am I going? Following the little rabbit. Here we go, down the story it is, and found myself lost. Too big in this area, too small in that one, don't fit in, and nobody understands me. How many times did I throw on the Mad Hatter's hat in this situation and act the way I shouldn't have, because of the fact that I was not where I was supposed to be? And here we are, in a space that we're able to actually come together, share the different unique styles that each and every single one of us are, and be totally, fully authentic within ourselves. And that's what the purpose of learning to love yourself is all about. It's about identifying. It's about learning yourself in a way that nothing that comes along in life can rock the boat within. When somebody else comes along and says something, whether or not that something feeds into where we are in life, we've got to become so confident and so secure that nobody even realizes that you're really going through a mess, because you have your own self control. It's okay to sit down and cry when you feel like crying. It's okay to honor every part of who you are as a human being, because we have every feeling and every facet that comes up. Yes, Yaz.
So you observe what's happening, you don't get sucked into it. And then you kind of like say, okay, then I'm feeling this, or I'm going through this experience because, and then write what you think it is, and then you get on with it, and then the feeling's gone and you go back to alignment.
That's part of it. That is part of it. Say, okay, so we're going through life. We're on that ocean. Some days we got still waters and we're just coasting along and things are beautiful. Everything in life is working out. You know what? The income's coming in, the kids are behaving, the house is clean. It's only going to last for 10 minutes, but it's perfect. But it's perfect for 10 minutes. Then all of a sudden, Johnny's fighting with Sally, and there's gum in somebody's hair. And then all of the waters on this ocean is coming up and splashing into our boat. And we are sitting in that space where we have two options. We can sit and go, why did you put the gum in your sister's hair? Or we can say, okay, this is part of it. Let me go get the gum. Let me go get something to get the gum out of her hair. And we become the solution instead of part of the problem. We have the right to choose. So at every given moment, we have to remember that we're responsible for us. We're responsible for our own feelings and our own reactions, because cause and effect can actually really agitate us and cause us to do things that we don't want to do just because it came from left field. Here came the wave crashing down on our boat, and we're going, I wasn't expecting that. So because I wasn't expecting that, we have that thing that comes and wells up, and all of a sudden we want to spew out. But it's our responsibility to put the guard at the gate and stand for a moment, realize what's happening, and how do we want to respond? How do we want to react? And it's up to us to find that peace where we can navigate that through the waters of life, because it's constant. We get waves that come in, and sometimes it's absolute devastation. Sometimes it's a loss and we have severe grief. That's funny. Yes, the Legos out of the feet. That is funny. How many times have we stepped on the Legos? Yes, if anybody has any kids here, we all know. Oh, that is horrible. That is worse than a goat head in a field. But here we are. We have the right to actually stop, and we are the compass within. Where do we want to go? How are we going to navigate ourselves through this? But learning that self-control is not easy, especially when we've come from wounded, broken spaces, because the reaction is the first thing we want to do. We want to explode. We want to react. We want to tell these people because we don't want them at the moment because we're overwhelmed in ourselves to just go back and go sit down and do something else. But they're not going to do that. So here is where we begin, is we start within ourselves. So the blessings of that is the fact that as we have, all of us here have had children. Have you had, yeah, you have children, Elizabeth? Yanni, I've seen you with kids. Are those yours?
Yes, I have one baby.
Awesome. Love your office, Maud. Hi, lovely.
Hi.
Hi,
We gotta-
Mom.
I don't want to interrupt. I'm just popping in.
You're fine. I'm just welcoming you. So we're talking about blessings and curses, and we've gone through a lot today. I will catch you up here in just a moment, but
No need to catch me up, sweetheart. Sorry. I'll watch the replay.
perfect. Thank you. So I was talking about the fact that when we have kids or different circumstances and life happens and the boat, we as the boat are going down the ocean, we have the waves that crash in on us. And as those waves are coming in and crashing, it's how we navigate through the storms of our life. So as we're going through, we have the right to choose how we want to respond. And the way we respond deems how we receive. So whether or not the blessings or the curses of our life also navigate through that. And that is because when we can actually maintain our self-control, then we're going to actually act and behave in a mannerism that is going to bring nothing but more joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control, love, gentleness, and all of the fruits, and when those fruits take and flourish out, everybody else then turns and is able to respond better. So if our child just had the gum in their hair, we can then turn, instead of being, why is the gum in someone's hair? What happened? What if Johnny just tripped over the dog? It went flying out of his mouth and accidentally landed in her hair. It wasn't really Johnny's fault. The dog got in the way, and it was just serendipitous, and here was the event. But as the parent, our first reaction is, why? Why? And so we sometimes will expand too far in it and get upset when we don't need to. We need to just look at it and go, okay, well, what is the purpose of me going through this at this moment? Well, obviously, Johnny needs to be cared for a minute, and Johnny needs to be loved because he just tripped over the dog. And he feels like he's just an absolute mess. He probably hurt his knee and that gum went flying. Poor Sally was affected and offended because her hair is now nasty because of the gum, and it needs to be cleaned out right now because she doesn't want that in her hair. So everybody is just a part of a reaction from the entire situation. And that is what we deal with every single day when we're walking through our life. We're all going through the motions and dealing with each and every single person. And we're dealing with them and where they're at. So if Sally knows that mom's going to be mad because something's up with the hair, because she's always fidgeting and always knowing that her hair has to be pretty, because mom tells her, don't pull out the hair ties, don't do this. Her emotional distress is going to be, there's something in my hair. So she's going to want a relief right now because that's what she's been trained to know. Well, Johnny is going to be sitting over going, you're not paying attention to me, because I just fell over the dog and I need love right now. And when we have all of these different events and circumstances going on, no matter what it is hard for us sometimes to keep that balance. So it takes us a lot of practice to go, okay, why? Why am I in this place right here? How am I able to serve myself and others in this moment? It's not just serving others. It's about how we serve ourselves, how we come into that space within that we are actually able to walk it and be it for others so that it actually benefits us. It's about the give and the take and the ebb and the flow. So the blessings or the curse, when it comes to, I will make you into a great nation and I will bless you. I will make your name great and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. So with the fact that we know that we have an all-powerful being that actually comes in and has been deposited within us, how we respond and how we react can be a blessing or a curse. So if I'm speaking the words that don't need to be said over somebody's life because I'm angry, I'm cursing them. But if I'm actually sharing the love from my heart and looking to find out how I can assist and be there and why that situation is helping me or helping them or coming to a place of learning And if I embrace that learning properly, then it can become the biggest blessing of my life. How many times in our life have we been through a situation that later, much later, we came back to and went, you know what, that was actually a blessing. It really sucked in the meantime as I was learning the lesson, and it made me cry and it made me scream, made me want to hurt other people and all kinds of other feelings. But it brought us to a space where we went, aha, I just learned something about me. And now I can take this and use this as a lesson that I can share with other people. So that, I'm going to come back now to you, Maud, because what we were doing and where we got into the story about the gum in Sally's hair is we were talking about what is your favorite quote, your scripture, poem, or story. So it's one of those. And why is it important to you? I made you
Okay.
laugh.
You did make me laugh because that was homework number 1 under the self-love thing. So it's one or the other. Well, so I need to say what it is for me or no? Well, for me, I decided one day that it would be a quote. It's live the life you love the life you live. And it was so important to me that I tattooed it on my arm there as the infinity sign. But it's like when you put up feelings of worthiness or affirmations, it's just there. I never really pay attention to it. But I'm working with you is making me realize that I need to pay more attention to this and really learn to honor me and do the things that make me happy and not because I feel like I should do them.
That is beautiful. Yes. One of the affirmations today is I'm whole and complete within myself. So that really navigated you right into that you are whole and complete, because when you are living the life that you love and love the life that you live, that was actually brought up twice today. Joe has that same one, and so do you, Maud. Did you know that?
No.
Yep, that was the one he shared today as well. That one is on his fridge. That one is really actually live the life you love. How many times in life are we actually doing that? It's not something we do every day. That's something we need to do every day, is live that life to its fullest. If it is not in a space of bringing you joy, bringing you happiness, and serving you as an individual in your heart, giving you a feeling of worth and value, then why are you doing it? So when we're sitting in that space and we're in those relationships in our life, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's a relationship with your mom, if it's a relationship with your child, if it's a relationship with your spouse, if it's a relationship with a significant other, a partner, or wherever you're at in life, when you are with someone else and that person is not contributing to your life the way that you need them to, then it is your responsibility that you can, yes, Joe, the same quote, but it is your responsibility to actually evaluate whether or not that area in your life is actually still part of what needs to be. Because sometimes in life, people will come into our life and they are there for a reason, but that person may be in our life and only temporarily, and sometimes it's for a long time, but because they were there to be a lesson. They were there to bring us to an opening within our minds so that we can go, oh, I needed this. I needed that. And we find so many times that we will continue to outstay the time and create all of these stories out of it that we didn't need to create because we didn't honor the moment of realization because we thought, well, maybe I need to fix it. Maybe I need to change it. Maybe I can change them. Well, you can't. They have to change themselves. Everybody has to come to a space within themselves and say, oh, it's my time to begin changing me. And with everyone around you, they're either going to flow with you because they're supposed to be on that journey with you, or they're going to slowly start fading off into their own worlds and doing their own thing. And that's perfectly acceptable that people come and go in and out of our life because everyone is there to be a part of the connection to bring us to the next level of who we are becoming. So we have to honor them, respect them, and love them and let them go. And sometimes the letting go, and why I find a lot of people in my class, is because the letting go is too hard to do. The letting go is where we usually get hung up because we're creating so much pain within ourselves by not just letting go. So does
I know.
anybody
You're
have
talking to me.
questions? And if I
You
asked
kind of-
anybody else on this panel, guess what? I'm talking to every single one of them.
It kind of made me, you with that last quote you said, you kind of reminded me of the thinking, the Power of the Now book,
Yeah.
that it says that we're so used to the pain itself that became part of us that it's hard to let it go because it's like letting go of part of being. But it was just that it's changing the part of being to something positive, which it's a little bit frightening. But once we, cross that bridge, or hill or whatever you want to call it, it's when it actually we realize then why we had to do all that, and I just thinking about what you guys were talking about and thinking about everybody's quote, the one it kind of makes sense from where you at, right? Because I hear you guys are more into the acceptance kind of stage, and I'm still on the kind of I don't want to fail, because one of my favorite scriptures is of First Corinthians. I don't know, I think it's chapter 13 where it talks about love and a way of being, right? It said, and with all this, at the end it says faith, hope, and love, and above all, it's love. And starting with oneself, right? In order for you to see that around you as well.
The scripture that you're referring to is in 1 Corinthians 13, and it starts in verse 4. Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will increase. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and in prophecy in part, but the protection comes. The imperfect disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the childish ways behind me. Now we see but a poor reflection in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. No, now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Yes, I love that so much. It's funny because my mom used to force us to to learn the scriptures, and I somehow ended up hating it. But now, as being a mother, it makes a lot of sense, and it is a guideline for life.
It has been for
Coming
me
from
as
someone
well.
who's never really been into scriptures, and like working with Darla is like really my first time with that. I have a hard time like understanding, I guess, what it means because it's not English.
It's not easy.
That makes sense. They should make like a ghetto Bible or something so we could understand
I'm gonna
it.
find you the
No.
ghetto Bible. I'm gonna find you a ghetto Bible. That is great.
Maud, you need to create the ghetto Bible, girl. You're it.
Man, I got so much on my plate. Look, I created my perfect getaway. I'm at the beach in Quebec now, in my backyard. So I'm just playing with sand. This is what's grounding me right now.
I love it.
That's it. That is so amazing for Maud. That was one of the journey when we first started talking. She said she wanted her own beach and her own island.
That was less than a month ago.
And here we are sitting right now with Maud in one of the very things that she has manifested into her life, her beach in her very own backyard. The water, the beach, the whole setup, where she is able to go and completely
I don't know if you guys can see.
remove her angst and frustration. This woman right here is a mermaid in the making. Like, that woman just needs to live in the water, because for her, water really brings her peace and gives her that space of feeling completely still. And we all have our own areas in life. Some people, it's going out into the woods. Other people, I would say that would be Joe, going out to the woods. What about you, Elizabeth? What really brings you peace? Where is that space for you?
I'm right there with Joe, going to the woods. I grew up in New York and I was surrounded by water and I was surrounded by beaches. And even though I love that when I go back and visit, and I love it when I get a chance to be near a beach or at the beach, I love the mountains. I love the woods. I love to get lost in like hiking in, I just, that's my trees. Since I was so little, trees have been my favorite entity in the whole world. I love them.
Awesome. What about you, Yami? Where is your peaceful place?
Oh my God, for me it's the beach as well, and I'm also on my way to there. We've been planning this for a while, so anytime, anywhere, anytime. I know life takes you along many paths, but my favorite ones lead to the beach. Yes, it's a way of me connecting to nature. I feel it's a way for me to connect to that one higher force, but learning that I could do that within myself, so making that a bonus.
Awesome. What about you, Yaz? Where is your space and safety?
Well, I was in a good place when I started to do this, but I created a different world, and it looked a lot like Barbados, and then I just spent 14 like months there. But now I can recreate it anywhere. But I did move from the other side of the house to where the trees are, though, because we've got like a lot of trees on this side, and the other side is like a main road. So like yeah, so I just tap into beach first, but trees and birds and anything that can make me align, or make me, but like take me to alignment is where I'm at. But I don't need anything to do that. I could just a decision, really.
Awesome. And Joe, so was I correct about saying the woods for you, the water and the trees?
Yeah, the woods is a quick go-to because you can find the trees anywhere, but I grew up on the water, so anything near water or near the woods is beautiful, like Yanni and Maud. I can go sit at the beach and still have that same grounding home type effect. So, definitely in nature, anywhere where I can take my shoes off and just be barefoot and love life.
So,
I think I like to be barefoot, but I am scared to be barefoot anywhere but the beach because I don't know. I have I have this concept of like, I don't know, I grew up in Florida and it's like you only see 30-foot people walking barefoot. So it's like I don't want to be one of these 30-foots, but I
it's
don't know.
important to touch base with the ground with your feet. It's okay to get your feet a little dirty. They are washable. They're washable. This is how we actually ground, is getting ourselves in. Go put yourself in the dirt and put your toes through, let the grass come between your toes and walk through it, or allow yourselves to breathe in the air after a heavy rain, because those things are really actually really good for your soul. They just really bring you back to a space of grounding you in life. And it's just a wonderful place to be. So yes, for you, Maud, understanding that you love the beach, it's the same thing. When you dig your toes through that sand, it's the same thing. You're just grounding yourself. And for you, that the sand, as you're playing with it, that motion of that helps you. That's what it's all about, is finding that space within you that allows you to feel whole and complete. So, but remembering that
I
it is
can remember when I was growing up, my mom,
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
You are
No, I
fine.
was gonna say, I mean, one of my mom's mantras for me when growing up was, where's your shoes? Where's your shoes?
That was me. I lived in Arizona for a while, so I really like being barefoot. But in Arizona, in the summer, it becomes so hot that you literally have to run from shade to shade so you don't burn your feet.
Right.
Because literally at 120 degrees in the summertime, that ground gets quite hot. So I can remember being a child running from one space to another, or yeah, and then even younger when I was in Iowa, because I've had the opportunity to travel a lot in my life. So I've lived a lot of different places, so a lot of different sceneries. So I love the tops of the mountains and going up and getting into that different air quality, because then you're breathing in a whole nother element of air. I mean, it just brings you to a whole nother space. But I love getting down, it says ground zero, and down in the waters, because then you're free flowing. But it's literally getting into air and to the water, into the earth, and it's all the elements. Really, we are the elements, because we are made and formed from everything that is around us. We're all connected.
Right.
Because of that connection, we have to have all of these things. That's why it's so important for us. But bringing it back to the blessing and the curse in life, when we are able to get ourselves and rejuvenate ourselves, how much easier is it for us to interact with other people and give them the part of us that is honorable, instead of being the one that's reactive and explosive, like shaking up a can of soda.
I'm walking barefoot
There you
in
go.
my grass.
We are getting the grounding right now.
Woohoo!
So, does anybody have any questions about a blessing or a curse in their own life that they need to talk about?
No,
Is it
I-
okay?
Yes, you guys got her hand up.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, as I unmuted, I seen Yaz raise her hand, so I was going to say let Yaz go first.
Go ahead, yes.
Oh, sorry. It's I really don't like the curse thing. You know, I know I wouldn't, even if somebody cursed me, I wouldn't want to curse them back or them being cursed back by any means necessary, because I feel like it's my lesson to learn, and the reason they did or didn't curse me is because I needed to learn the lesson, and it was my journey. So if they did to curse me, I wouldn't want them cursed back. That's okay, right?
Yes, that's perfectly okay. Because when you are living your life out of love, what you give out is what you're going to receive. So basically, when we are going through life, even if somebody else is angered, or we are angered and we are behaving a certain way, we can remember to act out of love. So when we're acting out of love, we're not going to do the things that are going to be damaging or creating the curse within our life. We're going to be living fully, abundantly in our abundance that's rightfully ours as the blessing. That's the cool part of this, is that as long as we are living by love, we then will receive the same.
So
Yeah,
we
but
can
I was
we
like
can
Yanni.
sorry. We can take the curse bit out, right? We can just like imagine that it's not there. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist anymore. As long as we are remaining our space of learning and living and giving of love, that curse is no longer valid. It completely is washed out. That is the amazing part of what the power that resides within us is. When we're living from love, we're living the blessing.
So
We're
like a
living
shortcut.
Yeah, it is. The gratitude is the attitude of gratitude is the power that we live in. And when we live in that power, it is literally activating the very power of the blessing within our life. And that's how we end up walking from blessing to blessing, miracle to miracle. Oh, I manifest this, and it is due to that. Because we've now negated the curse, because we're living it and walking it in true power. And that power is the blessing. Be a blessing, receive a blessing. Go ahead, Joe. I know you were up next.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like Yaz, I'm more focused on the blessing. And really, since I started the journey of finding myself, forgiving so much, learning to be grateful and expressing gratitude, like there really isn't much of a curse anymore now. Like I put in the chat, like it's Ruth's explanation of duality. Just remove the duality. Don't give no one consent to it. It no longer exists. I mean, focus on what you want to create. Like Maud's got her, her beachside ocean, right there in her backyard. And I mean, that's freaking amazing. I love it. So, you remove the thought of even being cursed or having curses when they no longer exist. So focus on, the blessings then, and you won't have to even consider the curse. I mean, even if something bad does happen or does come up, it's not a curse, it's a lesson. What can I learn from this? All right, cool. Let it flow through. Let's move forward. No longer letting it, no longer holding it and letting it destroy me days, weeks, whatever, like I used to. Just let it go. It's here for a reason. Don't hold on to it. Let it go so the next great thing can come.
I completely agree with you on that. It's once you're actually in the journey and are understanding that you can let go, at the beginning it's tough because you're like, yeah, I know I can just let go. But for me, I come from a place where the only feeling I've ever felt is pain. Pain is what drives me. So I battle myself a lot because new me wants to be at peace, but old me is like, yo, you need pain to survive. You need to feel pain and anger because that's how you get all your chores and all of these 50 different projects that you have going on through, you know? But working with Darla is really, really helping me bring balance to those two aspects. And it's kind of like what Yanni was saying earlier from The Secret, you know? It's hard to let go of who you were for so long because it just is. I don't know.
Well, Maude, I know that right now you've had some different things that are going on, and letting go is a very hard thing to do. And being at the beginning steps of learning how to do that is it is going to be difficult. It's unknown. So I'm here to help you navigate and assist you to recognizing how you can get through that. It's not about what I'm saying. It's about me opening the doorway for you to acknowledge what needs to be done and you being able to make the steps when you're ready. And having that person next to you to walk you through that journey is so vital and so important, because trying to do that navigation on your own, it's like taking the ship. And is one person going to run the whole ship? If you're up in the top of the ship and you're looking out over the waters to make sure that nothing's coming up, you're going to be down in and something springs a leak down in the bottom of the boat. Who's going to be down there to take care of it? Everything has to have a community. It has to have a place, and everybody has a part in it. We're never alone if we're doing it correctly.
Yeah, that's
So
what this community has definitely taught me, and the different people, you know. And I just want to say one thing about, you asked curse or blessings.
mhm,
And honestly, I think that the biggest blessing that I received in my life so far is crossing path with Yaz. Crossing path with Yaz has totally changed my life. Um, I mean, Lord knows, me and Yaz have had so many discussions, so many hours, and we've helped each other out. Um, and she really, really made me stick through feeling worthy enough to work through this, because I would have given up like a long time ago had she not been there. So thank you so much for being part of my journey, Yaz. I appreciate you. I appreciate the fact that you kept nagging me to join this lovely community, knowing that I didn't have time. And thank you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, honey. Thanks for putting up with me too. Surely.
Elizabeth, I want to make sure that if you had anything else you wanted to contribute today, I want you to be able to before we begin wrapping up.
Well, I think, and once again, we already did the big celebration, the 6-month celebration, but my hangover from that really is that I don't really have another person. I don't have anybody in my physical space
Me neither.
that I can talk to, right? And so when I tapped into this, I was just like, oh my God, this is gold. Like, because we can have these really heart-to-heart, heartfelt, intimate discussions with each other online in these Zoom classes, and it ain't no thing. There's nobody going, okay, well, we've got to stay on task now, and we've got to get back onto the next thing, and we're off schedule here or whatever. This is like the retreat. This is like the retreat. And it just, when I mentioned that it's like my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the best thing about this is that at any given moment, if I'm on my phone, I'll get like a message from Joe. Usually will say, we're on in 5 minutes, or Malik will, whatever. And it's just sort of like, okay, you know what? I might think that this is not the best medicine for me at the moment. I might just want to do whatever else, but it's just like, no, this is your call. This is what you need to be doing right this hot minute. You think you might need to be doing something else, but connect with the community, because I don't have, like Maud, I don't have a lot of people. First of all, I mean, I've lived a whole life as a unicorn anyway. I don't have a lot of people to get me, you know, to just be part of a community that gets me is
Yeah.
in and of itself is just enough, you
Priceless.
know? Priceless.
priceless.
So
It is.
when I stepped into this, when I dipped my toes into the water of this whole thing, you know, I didn't know I was going to meet Darla. I didn't know I was going to meet Maud. I didn't know that Yaz was going to be an integral part of my life. I didn't know that Joe Soma, who when I first saw him on video was going through so much at the time, was just going to emerge as this complete light and a different human being, you know? And so my last words here are, and Yaz, I mean, for goodness sake, or Yanni, oh my goodness. You know, I went and I visited a friend who had a stroke 2 years ago in a hospital yesterday. And it was just so humbling to me. It was so humbling to me to just be, for appreciation and gratitude of what I have, because he has so little, you know? So that's my 2 cents. This was awesome. Once again, it was just the perfect medicine I needed, put a smile on my face. Great way to start my day. Thank you, Darla.
Well, before
And
we
thank you,
end,
everybody.
before we end, I always take everybody into the fountain. This is one of the gifts that from above that I have received that is now just distributed into this earth. And I am so grateful to be that person to facilitate this. What I do is a fountain effect and allow you to go in. If there is anything that you need to let go of today, you know your story. You know every detail to that story. You don't have to go through it. You don't have to express it. You don't have to say any of it. You do have to think about it for just a moment and allow that feeling to come up. Think about anything that you need to let go of. And I want you to then close your eyes. And I want you to stand before the fountain. And whatever
There
means
you go.
necessary for you to go ahead and step right on into that fountain. As the waters are cascading down before you, I want you to hear and you're feeling that water as you've stepped in. I want that cooling effect to actually just consume your body from head to toe. And now I want you to go in to the waters as they're cascading down. I want you to open up your crown chakra and allow the waters to come into the top, the crown of your head, to wash away any of that story that you need to let go. Down into the jaw, into your throat, anything that is attached to this thing with your story. I want you to go ahead and let that wash clean through your throat so that you're no longer going to speak about it in a way that is not going to be helpful to you, because you're going to let it go. Down into the shoulders, down the arms, and into the fingertips, back up and into the heart. Anything that has affected your heart in regards to how this has made you feel, you need to let go of. Right now is the time to let that light waters to wash down into your solar plex. Anything in this space that you have like buried, swallowed, dealt with, in anything that goes along with your story that you have to let go of. Go ahead and let this water wash through down into the sacral, into the root of who you are, down your legs, down into your calves, into your feet, and into the ground. Let it deposit itself. Anything that goes along with this story that you need to let go of, let it go down into the ground as far away from you as possible and deposit it there, because now you can let it go. You can bury this because it is equal to death. It no longer serves you, so it can die out of your life. And now we can do the ritual of burying it into the ground. Go ahead and bring back up the light, back into your feet, into your calves, into your thighs, your root, your sacral, your solar plex, your heart, down into your shoulders, cross down your arms, into your fingertips, back up and into your throat. Let it mend and restore the story into the jaw, into the mind. Let it be cleared and back up into the heavenlies. Now back into your body, bring that light back in. Now this is just the deposit of what is rightfully yours from the foundations of creation, into the mind, into the jaw, into the throat, the shoulders, down the arms, into the fingers, back up into the heart. Let us sit here for just a moment. This is the depositing of who you truly are, being able to walk out in your authentic self after letting go of this story. Down into the solar plex, the sacral, your root, down your thighs, into your calves, down your feet, and right back up, back into the calves, into the thighs, into the root, the sacral, solar plex, your heart, into your shoulders, down your arms, into your fingers, back up into your throat, back up into your mind, and release. Let this light go back up. And I want you to really think for a moment about what you just went through and be thankful and grateful for today, because you've just been healed from a story. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And there we are. How does everyone feel?
Wonderful.
Miss Elizabeth. Go
Just
ahead.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
It was great. I had some great visions that I was looking for a way forward, and I found this. So thank you.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know, like when you ground or when I'm at the beach, I have these downloads. And I didn't want to go out today because it's cold and wet, and I don't like cold and wet. And I just thought, what am I going to do to get my download today? And you just did it. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That is what this is all about. It's about coming to that space of healing, and really letting go is really just coming to terms with letting it go, burying it where it belongs, and being able to say, enough's enough. I don't have to carry this anymore. And it's okay to set it down. It's not that you're not going to revisit the memory.
But you get the answers when you do that. When you let it go, as soon as you let it go, the answers can't come.
In
And
a
it's,
holy instant, in a holy
Yeah.
instant, like Ruth
Yeah.
says, you have
Yeah.
a complete understanding.
yeah, and it comes in an image, and it's so you can't deny that it's not true because you've seen it true, you know?
Exactly. Well, I am
Thank
going to
you.
go ahead and let everyone go back into life today. Take it easy on yourself. Remember, you are the only one in charge of you. So treat yourself with respect and love and honor. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Have a blessed weekend. See you soon.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Love you
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye.